On today's Smart 7, the UK has lost its climate crown. Senior doctors join the strike action and lots more. It's Thursday the 29th of June. It's Eid al-Adha and happy birthday, Catherine Jenkins.
The Smart 7. It's news, but not the news.
The UK is missing nearly all of its climate change targets and has lost its status as a global climate leader. As according to a report released by the Climate Change Committee on Wednesday, it showed there's been a drop in homes receiving energy efficiency improvements over the past year and delays in installing new wind and solar farms, whilst the decision on using hydrogen to heat homes is still 3 years away. Committee Chair Lord Bond says the UK is falling behind other countries on its climate change policies.
It's not just that the United Kingdom has lost its leadership in the world on this issue. It is that the United States, the European Union, with its very clear new legislation, doing a huge amount more. They are the ones that are going to get the investment.
Energy Minister Graham Stewart was quick to defend the government's actions, including the controversial decision to approve more North Sea oil drilling.
About 76% of the energy of the most decarbonised major economy in the world, us, comes from fossil fuels today. There is no button I can press that turns that off.
Meanwhile, Climate Change Committee CEO Chris Stark says we can't afford to wait until someone else is in charge for a change.
We look very much like we're off track now to hit the goals that we proclaimed to the world we wanted to hit by 2030. So what we're saying today is there is still time to fix that, but we can't mess around for the next year and wait for the general election. We've got to have some big decisions from this government to take us back on the path.
NHS consultants in England are set to join junior doctors in industrial action in July, having voted in favour of a 2-day strike over pay. They'll be walking out for 48 hours from July 20th, with Christmas Day like cover being provided for emergencies. It'll be the first time senior doctors have gone on strike since 2012, but consultant anaesthetist Dr Tom Dolphin says there's no other option.
We've got to the point where we don't have any choice, basically, but to strike, because we've tried the pay review process that the government keeps telling us to follow. And that has just seen our pay being cut year after year. So that's why we're in the position we are now.
According to the BMA, NHS consultants have faced a real terms pay cut of 35% over the past 15 years, whilst junior doctors have seen a drop of 26%. And while the independent NHS pay review body has recommended a 6% salary increase for doctors and nurses, Minister Claire Coutinho doesn't seem swayed.
We've been trying to find the best ways through to negotiate with all the different public sector workers, but also we need to make sure that we have a grip on public spending.
England's largest water supplier could be on the verge of collapse, and Wednesday saw government ministers and regulator Ofwat racing to draft contingency plans. Asked to make a statement in the Commons about the situation was Thames Water Environment Minister Rebecca Pow, and she started things off by confirming she does in fact know what water is.
Water is what makes life possible on our planet, and it is essential for our health and well-being.
Thames Water's racked up a whopping £14 billion in debt, and it's not the only company in trouble. Last week, Southern Water proposed charging customers almost £300 extra a year by 2030 to help cover investments. Green MP Caroline Lucas says privatisation is to blame.
Doesn't that just show that privatisation of water was a serious mistake and it needs to be permanently rectified?
Back to Rebecca, who presumably hasn't learned about sewage spills yet, because she says we have far better quality water since privatisation.
We do have virtually the best quality water coming out of our taps almost anywhere in the world, but we also have these phenomenal results for our bathing water areas, 93% being classed as good or excellent.
Polish President Duda and Lithuanian President Nausėda paid a surprise visit to Kyiv on Wednesday to show their support for Ukraine's NATO bid and call for further military assistance. Meanwhile, Estonian Prime Minister Kallas hinted there could be a surprise in store regarding Ukraine's membership in a joint press conference with NATO Chief Jens Stoltenberg ahead of the summit in Vilnius in 2 weeks. And following the death of 11 people in Kramatorsk after a Russian missile strike on a shopping centre, Ukrainian President Zelensky, in a slightly angry plot twist, is now urging Russia to back Ukraine's NATO bid.
It would be right for Russia to ask for Ukraine's membership in NATO now, because NATO's members defend themselves, not attack. NATO states defend nations, not rush into their neighbours to destroy their future.
Still to come on the Smart 7, Australia get off to a strong start at Lords, and Dr Boyega has a Jamie Foxx update.
Right after this. Welcome back. 3,
The second Ashes test began at Lord's on Wednesday and things got off to a lively start when 3 Just Stop Oil protesters had to be escorted off the field during the second over. Once play resumed, Australia battled themselves into a strong position, finishing the first day 33-9 for 5, with Steve Smith just 15 runs away from a century. They're leading the series so far, having claimed a narrow victory over England at Edgbaston last week. And while Joe Root was able to claim 2 quick wickets near the close of play, commentator Kevin Peterson wasn't impressed with England's bowling overall.
Now, it's one thing walking here, swanning around and saying, hey, this is a wonderful team to play in, we're creating the best environment, but this is not Ashes cricket. I've played Ashes cricket. I've played 30 test matches against Australia. The English bowlers this morning should have been on those stairs saying, we want to bowl at Australia, we're desperate to bowl at Australia.
The new Netflix film, They Cloned Tyrone, had its Hollywood premiere on Tuesday. The sci-fi mystery comedy revolves around a neighbourhood drug dealer, Fontaine, and his 2 friends as they investigate a series of mysterious events and end up discovering a government conspiracy. But there was one notable absence from the premiere. Jamie Foxx, who plays Fontaine's friend Sixth Charles, has been in and out of hospital over the past couple of months after a serious health scare. But co-star John Boyega says he's doing well.
I just feel like Jamie's example is more than anything how he lives his life and the decision that he makes. But I spoke to him recently and he just wished me the best of luck with the press tour, and he assured me that he's all good and, you know, it's all love, you know.
It's the horror video game which became a staple of Gen Z's childhood, and now almost 10 years later it's been adapted into a major movie. Five Nights at Freddy's stars Josh Hutcherson as Mike Smith, a security guard tasked with protecting a local pizza shop from its 4 evil animatronic mascots. It'll come out in cinemas on October 27th and the trailer's just dropped, so mark your calendars because it looks like the perfect Halloween watch.
In the 80s, kids went missing. The police searched Freddy's top to bottom.
Hello?
They never found them. That's why the place shut down.
There are ghost children possessing giant robots. Thanks for the heads up.
Technically, they're animatronic.
You've been listening to The Smart 7. We'll be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. Hit that follow button and have a great day. Give us 7 minutes, we'll give you the world.